Hey, this is James, and welcome to Read More Comics. This week, I'm going to be sharing with you my pulls. It's been a couple weeks since my last video, and I have been going to my LCS, making sure I emptied out my pull box, but I wanted to share what I got. So let's get to it. So to begin with, and this is actually not a part of my pulls, but it's amazing when you've been collecting for a while, and I can say I've been collecting for, as an adult, about 13 years. You accumulate things in your collection, you store it away, you organize it, and still things show up. So I was looking through some bags and boards for magazines, and in the little file organizer, it's one of those kind of magazine organizers. I have it in my closet where I store all this stuff. I happened to notice that I had accumulated and been storing them in magazine bags and boards, some things I picked up from Kickstarters and things like that. So the first thing, and I'm thinking I might see if I can find someone to color this. This was a sketch card I picked up off a Facebook group, and this guy was selling them for like $1 a piece. So this is Poison Ivy, and I think it would be really cool to get that colored. The second thing, on the other side, I had backed on Kickstarter this, I suppose it's an homage to John Wick, called Good Boy, where it's from the dog's perspective, and it's kind of very John Wicky. I don't know if that's a thing, but so this was a sketch card that was signed by both writers. So I thought that was pretty cool. I want to get those framed and up on my wall. So I have several weeks worth of books, and I even have a trade in there. So let me get a little organized. The first kind of spurt is going to be books from not this past week. This is going to be my pulls from the week before, and it was a really light week for me. I only had 6 books, and honestly, I wouldn't have even had that many if my LCS, BuyMeToys.com, in beautiful Mishawaka, Indiana, hadn't been shorted from one of my pulls, I think the week before or 2 weeks before. So this is what they were shorted. This is Saturday Morning Adventures, Dungeons and Dragons, issue number 1. I got the A cover, and what I've been noticing, here we go, is that, I think I might be pulling somewhere around 25 books a month, and it's getting close to about a quarter of those, about 20%-ish. Are just nostalgia pulls, and this is one of them. I grew up in the 80s, and as a child of the 80s, there were a couple different things that were going on. Saturday morning cartoons was one of them. Dungeons and Dragons cartoon was brilliant. I played Dungeons and Dragons for a good 30 years of my life, only recently quit. And I still have a fond place in my heart for the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon. Own the whole series, watch it multiple times. And this is one of this pull. I think this is volume, I don't know. They typically do miniseries. I think this is volume 2 of it. So Dungeons and Dragons, A cover. This is Red Sonja. This is the current run. This is volume 7. And I've been getting the Bjorn Brens covers. I need to go back. I think for the first 2 or 3 issues, I was getting other variant covers. And there's just a visceral quality to this. Let's see if I can get that. I'm sorry for the glare. It's a beautiful day in the Midwest. It is just gorgeous, gorgeous art. This has been a fun read, too, as Red Sonja goes. Next up, we have Batman and Robin. This is the annual. This has also been a fun read. If you enjoy Batman and Robin, and Damian Wayne is my Robin. I really enjoy the kind of attitude he portrays. I know not everybody's a fan, but since Batman vs. Robin, which was last year before, Josh Williamson is doing the writing. It's just been a really fun book. Next up, we have Trinity Special number 1. This is one of the variant covers. Oh, this is a Jorge Jimenez cover. I'm a little behind on my reading of Wonder Woman, so that's going to have to wait a bit. And then the other two, and I tend to pull books that support diversity in comics because I think comics have to go beyond the current fan base. And what I recognize is that as a school teacher, by supporting these things, supporting books that celebrate diversity and diverse artists and diverse writers, it is supporting the comic books for my students, okay? Because my students are a part of that diversity. And so I got Marvel Voices Legends number 1. This is the A cover. And then DC also had one. The DC books are a much thicker anthology, where the Marvel book, you know, it's a typical comic book size. This is DC Power 2024. And I want to say I think this is the A cover as well. All right. I think I missed last year's. But what's really cool is you get you get an opportunity to see different artists and writers who don't often have an opportunity for the bigger book. You know, they're up and coming artists and writers. And as a part of that, what I find really, really cool is they oftentimes sneak in first appearances. You get an artist that is typically a cover artist, like there was years ago. I think this is one of the seasonal books in the spring. DC had one of my favorite cover artists do just a short mini, and I'm totally drawing a blank on who it was. It'll come to me. Anyway, so, all right, stack's falling over. Okay, so where are we at? These are my pulls from this week. So this is most of it right here. We got Fantastic Four, beautiful Alex Ross cover right there with, I'm not sure, that might be Mr. Fantastic, the victim of an archaeological dig. This has been a really fun read. North and Gomez has been knocking it out of the park on this. And I think this is one of the titles that kind of floats under the radar, but highly recommend jumping on board. The wonderful thing about this series is, even though it's 17 issues in, it's kind of like a Monster of the Week. So it's very retro vibe to it, even though there's an overarching story. So Fantastic Four number 17. We got Obi-Wan Kenobi number 5. I'm a little behind reading this, but to be fair, I watched the series, and this is just the comic book adaptation. I pulled this because there was one of the Inquisitorius that was in issue number 1 or 2, and we also had a first appearance of Flea, or the musician known as Flea, on a cover, Raza cover for issue number 2. So I'll pull this until it finishes up. Issue number 5. We have Captain America number 6. This is a variant cover. I think this is a Moon Knight variant, but I'll be honest, I pulled it because it's Captain America on a motorcycle, and I don't know what it is, but Captain America on a motorcycle is just the bomb. Okay, this has been a fun run too. A very kind of low-key take on Captain America, where we're not seeing Cap fighting big villains. He's just dealing with low-level stuff, like who he is and what is he doing when he's not being a superhero, and kind of exploring his identity, which I think gives some depth to the story that we haven't seen in the last couple runs. This one, and I need to give some background on why I pulled this one, because I am not going to be pulling the series, but I definitely pre-ordered this issue. I was reading something over the past week where they're talking about who is that character, not like A-list character, but that character you just enjoy hunting for. I'm sorry, here comes my dog. She's a juggernaut. Hey, what are you doing? Yeah. You can't see her, but she's here. She just came from inside. Yes, yes, yes. You're sweet. Okay, sit down. Okay. Excuse me. So, who's the character that you just enjoy collecting, and it could be a B-list character or a C-list character. And I thought about it, and what I really do enjoy is collecting comic books where the focal point becomes the hero's pet. Okay. Or it's just an animal. So one of the first was Dexter, member of the Red Lanterns, pulled. I was on the hunt for his first appearance, every single appearance. Since then, Pizza Dog. I got the Pizza Dog silent issue, beautiful book. And here we have Bats the Ghost Dog on the front cover of Doctor Strange. And now I'm going to go back and find Bats the Dog before he became Bats the Ghost Dog. And then his first appearance as Bats the Ghost Dog. And this is kind of my my character. And this goes back to, I think it's, what is it? I'm drawing a blank on the podcast name. It's Off Panel. And he's a big Stiltman fan. And I think this is where I'm a big fan of just like superhero pets, if that makes sense. Next up, we got Batman 142. This is beginning of Joker Year 1, which I'm kind of looking forward to. I've been enjoying what Zdarsky's been doing, connecting one arc to the next. Excuse me, allergies been killing me today. And this is coming off of Mind Bomb, and so we're seeing where it's going next with the Joker, who played a role in that. One thing I'm really enjoying about Zdarsky's run is how he is connecting to other people's work and being consistent with respecting the mythology behind Batman. And so, like in Mind Bomb, one book that the editor kept referring back to, at least issue number 3, but every issue that they had the Joker in, was Batman. It was the Tom Taylor mini, Batman the Night or Dark Knight or something like that. And that was going back to Batman's training in Europe and the different mentors he had. So I'm looking forward to this. I just got caught up with Batman this morning. Next up, we have Conan the Barbarian. This is issue number 7 and a cover by Jessica Fong, who's been doing Poison Ivy. My LCS was shorted issue number 6, I think, or was it 5? And so I'm a little behind reading Conan because I need that issue before I continue on. So here we go. And then we have Shazam issue number 8. I've been getting the Samney covers. Chris Samney has been killing it, just creating a visual representation of the innocence of Shazam. Very cool title, also by Mark Waid. And let's see, Dan Mora had been doing the internals, but it looks like someone else is up to bat now. I'm kind of saddened. Chris Samney is going to, his last cover is issue number 10, I think. DC should have just locked him in for the entire series. This is Buy Me Toys exclusive. So Thundercats dropped, and my LCS has, pre-pandemic, they had procured the services of some amazing artists to do some store exclusives. So they got Aunt Lucia to do a store exclusive for Thundercats. I picked it up because I want to support my LCS. Very cool vintage vibe with this. And I'm going to be honest, this might be another title because I heard Declan Shelby really killed it on this issue. And Thundercats was one of those shows in the 80s that I really dug. So if this is a cool title, this will be one of those nostalgia subscriptions for me, right along with Dungeons and Dragons, G.I. Joe. They're kind of building up. Next up, we have Poison Ivy. I'm not sure what the title is because I can't see. I'm sorry, not sure what the volume, the issue number is because the cover is almost a virgin. This is the Jessica Fong, use your words. This is a foily cover, Jessica Fong foil. Very cool. So I went with that one. Almost done. We have, just dropped. Sorry. Okay, my book just slid off the stack. I had the stack facing the wrong direction, and so when the stack began to slide, they were falling off my desk. Pro tip, always have the stack slanted towards the center of your desk, and then you don't have to worry about this. Next up, we have the DC's How to Lose Guy Gardner in 10 Days, number 1. I went with the Flash variant cover with his mom. I thought that was really cool. This is one of those anthologies. Every time DC comes up with the seasonal anthologies, I always pick them up because this is where you can get amazing artists doing little short stories. And if you don't like a story, you can just skip it. And it was one of those, I remember the artist now. One of these issues, a couple years back, had a Gabriel Del Otto short story where he did all the arts, and it was just incredible. Usually I've only seen him on the covers. Del Otto is one of my favorite artists. He just slayed it. Next up, been waiting for this for a while. This is X-O Manowar Unconquered. This is issue number 6 by Becky Cloonan, Michael Conrad, Liam Sharp on the art. The art on this has been amazing. And if it wasn't for all the drama involved in Valiant as a publishing company, this would have been done like a year ago. There are only 6 issues in it. I've been waiting for this one for a while. I'll probably have to reread the whole thing. And it kind of saddens me. X-O Manowar is kind of my dude. I've really enjoyed that hero outside of the big 2 or anything Image is doing. And the fact that there might not be any more X-O stories is an injustice, I think, to us as comic book readers. So if you're looking for a superhero outside of the big 2, definitely recommend X-O Manowar. I think if I was going to recommend this to someone new, I would skip Volume 1. Volume 1 is a very 90s book. Go to Volume 2. Okay, Volume 2 is amazing. I think it's Volume 2. Maybe it's Volume 3. Volume 3 is amazing. Okay. Yeah. I'll double check. Get back to you on that one. So, X-O Manowar, issue number 6. That finishes up that mini. And then this is a hardcover trade. It was actually the podcast I mentioned earlier. Off panel, they'll do an end of the year. Here are my top 20 books. And he mentioned Peacemaker Tries Hard. And I've made it kind of one of my collecting goals is to shift from subscribing to individual issues, unless it's something I really want to follow and have in my collection, to going to trades and trying to get the best copy of it. And so I got the hard copy of Peacemaker Tries Hard by Kyle Stark, Steve Pugh, and Jody Belair. Is that Jordy Belair? My apologies. Anyway, that is it. That was a sizable stack of comic books. Thank you for watching. If you liked what you saw here, please down below like, share, and subscribe. And I hope everybody has a great week.